I would like to introduce our next speaker, Marcus Chain. Marcus, hi.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you very well. Marcus is the
Perfect.
founder on Venli Consulting Group. Am I right? Everything correct? Yeah.
You nailed it. That's perfect.
Yeah. And Marcus' topic today is how you you use LinkedIn to generate dozens of qualified meetings without being pitchy or spammy. This is the popular idea today, not to be spammy, not to be pitchy. Thank you for joining us, Marcus, and let's start.
Awesome. I'm excited to dive in today. I'm just going to adjust my screens real quick. So I can see all your beautiful faces in here. I got the chat box up. Okay, let's have some fun today. So I'm Marcus Shan, founder of Venli Consulting Group. Thank you so much for the intro. And today I'm going to teach you, this is going to be very tactical training. This is how I use LinkedIn to generate literally dozens of qualified meetings literally every single week without being pitchy or spammy. And this is going to be literally a step-by-step blueprint so you can actually generate warm leads daily so you can actually overfill your pipeline, close $1,000 from LinkedIn, and no, you do not need to be an influencer, and no, you don't have to use paid ads. So I'm actually going to use a Google Doc here because this is going to be, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm using a Google Doc here because later on, if you do want a copy of this, you can send me a message and I'll send you a copy of this doc. So it's very tactical, okay? So also, what I want to tell you today is, what I'm going to share with you today is not theory. This is exactly what I do, continue to do to generate a lot of business for my own business, for my clients as well. And even when I had only 3,000 connections on LinkedIn. Now, who this training is for, because I want to make sure this is for the right people here. These are for professionals who want to use LinkedIn to generate more leads, qualified appointments, and close opportunities and deals. They want to make more money leveraging LinkedIn as a tool to actually supercharge their results. Maybe you may have never used LinkedIn prospect and close, or maybe you have used LinkedIn in the past, but have not been happy with the results. You might have tried posting content with 0 leads generated. You might try sending direct messages to prospects with no or negative response, etc. So if that is you, if that has been you, if you are one of these people right here, drop me a 1 in the chat so I can make sure we have the right people on here. All right, drop the 1 in the chat if that's you. If you are one of these people right here, if you want these things, let's make sure people are paying attention too. All right, I got some pluses. Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, let's take a look and let's keep rocking here. All right. So who is this not for? All right. So if you have an ego of some sort, like you're like, oh, this is probably not going to work for me. Well, it's probably not going to be good for you to watch this. If you're not willing to try new things, probably not good for you either. If you are full of excuses on why things won't work, probably not good for you either. If you don't like to take action, might not be worth your time either, right? If that's you, you might as well just stop watching because, well, frankly, knowledge means nothing without execution. And everything I'm going to teach you today, you can definitely go apply immediately. And we'll definitely share this doc, and I'll share with you exactly how to get access to this a little bit later. So, a couple of things. So, what I'm going to cover today, all right, I'm going to cover seven things, if not more, really. So, number one, the 7 beliefs your buyers must have for a sale to occur. All right. And how to use LinkedIn to build these beliefs, how to plug LinkedIn into your sales process to supercharge your pipeline, how to optimize your profile to convert, how to build a juicy pool of qualified prospect to prospect into, how to do outbound messaging that actually books meetings, and how to create content that actually get your prospects reaching out to you and more. And I'll tell you right now, this session right now, most people would charge you just for this training itself would charge you easily 3,000 to 5,000 USD just for this training. And you get part of this or just being part of this conference today. So you should be really, really excited here to watch this training today. All right. Now, before I go into everything, I think it's good to give a little context in my background because I'm not like a LinkedIn trainer or not. It's not my business actually. So even before I started doing this, I actually worked in corporate America for 14 years and for 2 major US Fortune 500 companies. Both of these are Fortune like 350 companies. I actually started in outside hunting B2B sales. So lots of cold calling, walking into businesses, cold emailing, etc. And was really fortunate, was promoted 10 times in 10 years, working for those 2 major companies. In my last role, I was actually leading the sales force over 110 plus employees. We delivered multiple 9 figures a year in revenue. All right. I ranked in the top percentile every single year. I won every award possible. And the truth is, I always did social selling all throughout my career, taught my teams to do it, but I didn't really start to focus on it until really about 2015. It was because I started a side hustle. So I started a side hustle and I started literally spending thousands of dollars and literally thousands of hours trying to figure out how to actually effectively scale, my side hustle and also help my day job with social selling. And it took me years, probably to about 2018, until I kind of started figuring stuff. I started seeing real results. And then I started making consistent money using these principles. Okay. And these are things I'm going to teach you today. Then I use them to basically explode my side hustle and actually grew my little company on the side to the point where I was able to quit my big corporate job and go all in September 2019 to my business. All right. I then actually went on to leverage social selling, and in under 2 years, because I'm hitting about 2 years for my business now full time, I built an incredible, profitable, and lucrative coaching business, which I help B2B sales pros sell and earn more. That has allowed me to impact thousands. I brought over 300 plus clients. I've been featured in Forbes, Yahoo Finance, MarketWatch, Salesforce, LinkedIn, etc. And all of it's really, a lot of it's from social selling. And today, you get the benefit of learning from all my mistakes. All right. So if you are ready to dive in first, if you're ready to dive in, drop me a number 2 if you're ready to jump in. Drop me a number 2 if you're ready to rock now. Drop me a 2. All right, cool. All right, you'll see I'm going to be engaging with you all throughout, so I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, so be ready. Got to be ready. Okay, let's go. All right, and I'm very high energy at all times. This is how I run. It's only like 7:20 a.m. right now, but I'm still ready to go in the US. Okay, so first off, I want to kind of pre-frame a little bit and give you some context, because it's really important to understand the buyer beliefs. And these are the 7 beliefs your potential buyer, they must have for a sale to occur. All right. And I found this is cross-cultural. If they have these beliefs in place, in general, your chances of closing them are much higher than if you do not have them. Okay. And we'll discuss how to use LinkedIn to help build these beliefs. All right. So to give you some context here, I want to make sure you kind of understand the fundamentals of an entire sales process and how it connects together. So this is kind of a small picture. So I'm kind of zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Let me just kind of go like this. Boom, you can kind of see just a little bit better. And this is what I call the Chan sales machine. And for most people in general, generally speaking, obviously your situation might be a little bit different. There might be some variances, but for most people, they're going to do some sort of outreach first. That could be a phone call, email, whatever. They're going to hopefully probably multiple times book an appointment. Once they have an appointment, they're probably going to run a discovery call. The discovery call is going to lead to a demo or presentation. And again, this might be multiple meetings, but again, for simplicity's sake, that's kind of how it flows. Eventually, to the point, if you earn the right to earn the business, you're going to close them, onboard them, and they become a happy new customer. All right. And really, you take them from, getting their attention or awareness to interest, decision, and then action. And if you're able to do this properly with LinkedIn, you can actually use LinkedIn from your top of the funnel work, your outbound messaging, to all the way through nurturing them through the whole sales process, to guide them through not knowing you to actually close. And we can actually establish the 7 buyer beliefs. All right. So it's kind of a contextual framework on how you can use LinkedIn, not just for outbound, but for across the board. But let me just go back here and explain the buyer beliefs. And what I want to let me back up. What I want to share with you is with LinkedIn, it's a tool actually to help you with every part of your process. So it's not just for booking the appointment, but for every part of the process. If you use it properly, effectively, like I'll show you today, you'll see it can really help you scale up your results and explode your impact and your income as well. So understand that it's not all of it. It also doesn't mean that sometimes people say, hey, Marcus, if I just social sell, does that mean cold calling is dead? Cold emailing is dead? No, this does not mean that. Cold calling still works. Cold emailing still works. You just have to get better at it. It's just like LinkedIn does work. You just have to get better at it. That's it. So what this also does not mean you can just post on LinkedIn daily and then leads will flood in. So there is a process in place. There's methodology in place that's going to help you be able to get replicatable, duplicatable results that occur every single day, every single week. And what's important to understand here is with LinkedIn is you want to use it in conjunction with other, outbound strategies. All right. And we're going to break down some very tactical tips today so you can actually get results and use LinkedIn as a tool to supercharge your sales process. All right. So if you want a copy of this document here, go ahead, just connect me on LinkedIn. The link is above, and then just message me social selling. So I'll know, my team will know, and we'll send it over to you. And don't worry, we'll get to you guys too. All right. So let's get super tactical, right? So side note here, because sometimes I get the mistake and some people say, hey, I become really great at LinkedIn. I'm not closing. Being great at LinkedIn does not mean you'll be great at closing still. You still need to make sure you master the phone work, emails, running a great discovery call, doing a great job in your demo presentation. You have to have a great offer. You have to close like a champion. You got to handle objections still. You got to control the sales process well. And being good at social selling does not absolve you at being great at everything else. All right. So you still want to make sure you're still good at everything else. So let's talk about the 7 beliefs now that I discussed so far right here. Okay. So some of the 7 beliefs right here, to go in more detail, there are 7 beliefs they must have. So number 1, they must believe they have pain. So they must believe they have pain in their current situation. If there is no pain, there's no change. All right. So they must believe there's pain in their situation. They must also believe they have a cost, meaning they must believe there's a cost of inaction. If they do not take action with something, it will cost them something. That could be time, money, whatever, inconvenience. Okay. There's a cost of inaction. They must also believe they have desires. They must believe they have a desired future state or goals. So they must want to work towards something as well. Okay. They must have doubt. They must have doubt that they can do it on their own, or their existing method or vendor can't do it. They must believe that. So that way they want to make a change. They must believe they have resources. They must believe they have a way to get resources or capital to invest. If they don't believe it, then they're not going to take action. They must believe they have decision-making power as well, meaning they must believe they can pull the trigger or highly influence a decision to actually progress the deal forward. And they must believe they have trust. They must trust in you, your company, in your solution to be able to have it. And if you have all 7 of these, it's really powerful. And when you use LinkedIn properly, it can actually help you really establish all 7 of these beliefs from your top of the funnel, from right here, all the way through your bottom of the funnel. All right. So really, really key from awareness to action. Okay. So let me pause for a second. If this makes sense so far, type in a 7. So I know, type in a 7. So I know this makes sense so far. That you are understanding that these beliefs are key. All right, cool. Got some 7s coming in. All right, beautiful. Yeah, I'm moving fast too, because this is actually probably like a 2-hour, 3-hour training that I'm going to condense down and give you as much value as possible. All right, so we'll keep rocking. So how to use LinkedIn step by step. So now let's go as a baseline. So here's a baseline. You must know your ICP, or your ideal customer profile, or your target market, whatever you want to call it, your perfect customer, your perfect avatar, whatever you want to call it, the person you're going after. You must know them scarily well. Like they must feel like you are in their head. So when you talk to them, you really know, for the most part, their goals, their desires, their wants, their heartburns, their problems, etc. They feel like you know them so well. All right. That's very, very important, because it's going to reflect on everything you do with LinkedIn. And ultimately, you must be able to show 2 things with them on LinkedIn. You must show you are of value to them, and not someone who's going to just spam message them, send them just a lot of crappy messages. So show value, and don't be a sleazy salesperson, basically. AKA, what that also means as well is you want to reduce their risk of accepting your connection request and increase the potential value they gain from you. Reduce risk, increase value. All right. And just remember this: where attention goes, money flows. Where attention goes, money flows. All right. And as you start doing outreach and you start engaging with prospects on LinkedIn, potential prospects, one of the first places they're going to check is your profile. So we're going to discuss that first. Your profile is the most valuable asset you have on the platform. When it's done properly, it's actually a machine that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you, selling for you. And that's every part of your profile. So that's from the tagline you have, to the banner you have, and I'm gonna show you some examples as well, the about section, the featured section, even the content you post, the job history experience, the recommendations. So picture like if they were to take the time to actually go through everything, and most people are not, but if they were to glance at it, they feel pretty good. But if they were to take the time to go through your profile for hours, by the time they read every single thing on there, they should feel very comfortable. You are who you say you are, and ultimately you will bring them value, and you are not going to, be a spammer. Okay, that's really, really important. And the way I always think about it, I call it, you want to be this called the attractive character for your industry, meaning if they were to picture their ideal vendor in your space, what would they look like? What would their headshot look like? What would their attitude be like in the content they would create? What would their knowledge base be like, etc.? So this is really important. So it's like when they picture, if they had to write out requirements for the perfect vendor, when they look at your profile, it should align to that. All right. So I mean, and these are little things from, for example, even the image. If the industry you go after typically is a more casual industry, maybe they were, maybe polos or t-shirts and jeans. And if you're wearing a full suit in your pictures and you're trying to prospect into them, they may not be as open to a conversation because they might be a little bit turned off, versus if you were a polo or something else, or something professional that kind of aligns with the image you're looking for, that will increase the chances of them being able to be open to having a conversation with you. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna pull up an example profile here and pull this up real quick. I want to make sure, can you guys just type in the chat? Can you see my LinkedIn box right here? So make sure you guys can still see it. Just type in a yes if you could see it. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay, cool. Beautiful. So I'm going to kind of show you just so you can see it, a walkthrough. So for example, I'm going to refresh my page here. The first of all, you can see my headshot here. Have a decent headshot. So I work directly with B2B sales professionals. So I could wear a polo, but this is kind of an in between because some industries are more professional. They wear a full suit. So this is like for me, a middle ground is or a suit, no tie. Okay. A couple of things I did as well. I'm laughing here. I'm smiling. So it makes me look more approachable, right? I went to canva.com, which is completely free. I added some color pop to this, some yellow, some blue. So it kind of stands out. And this, you'll see why this is important a little bit, because when you're engaging on content, it'll make you stand out. So this, again, automatically, it's like, this is AKA the attractive character, right? Portraying the image they want to see from the get-go. It looks professional. It's not a picture of me and my dog or my cat. I like the animals, but it's not that. It's not a picture of me and my family. It's a picture of me. They can see me. All right. Also, if you notice, you can see my banner here. My banner is very clear. What do I do? So it's very clear. I literally help B2B sales pros sell and earn more. I have some calls to action. Look, contact now to learn more. Grab us free sales training here. I have some social proof of credibility. All right. So again, when they see my profile, it reduces their risk very quickly. All right. Now, if you want to get fancy here, I'm going to refresh my page. You can see this real quick. You can see right here where my profile is. This is a moving cover photo. I think this may not be available in all countries, depending on what country you're at, but this is a really powerful way to film a very quick 30-second video to introduce yourself and give them a call to action. So if you have that feature, definitely make sure you do it. You can record from your phone, and that's how you do it. Now, here as well, this is an audio. So you can actually, I think it's available in most countries. So on your phone, you can record a little audio pronouncing your name, but you can also do a little call to action as well. So again, when people can hear your voice, this helps create trust. So they can see your eyes, they can hear your voice. You are creating trust as part of it. Your tagline. What do I do exactly? It's very clear. This is what I do. All right. So some people put their title, which is totally fine. But in general, the titles don't mean much to the person that you're trying to prospect into. They want to know, who are you? What do you do? Can you help me? Are you a spammer? They want to know all those things very quickly. So now it's like, hey, this is what I do. I help B2B sales pros earn $50,000 to $100,000 more this year and become the top 1%, and then have some calls to action, some credibility, etc. Okay. So, at the very least, have who you serve and how you help them, right? Or maybe the problem they have and how you solve it. Very, very powerful. We'll keep scrolling down. The feature section is incredibly powerful right here. This is where you can host content that's really going to be of value to your potential prospect. So for example, here, I have a free training I put here. It's one of the most popular ones. People love this training, so I put it here so they can access it for free. Also, you can include, some people just kind of put like maybe popular, maybe a post they had that had some good engagement. That can be good if it's relevant. So only put posts that are relevant to your target market. So for example, here I got featured in Salesforce as one of the top people to follow. So that's relevant to my target market. So I pin that there, right? Forbes, so whatever it's gonna be, make sure it's relevant to them. You can have case studies, you can have reviews, it could be use cases, it could be white papers, it could be upcoming webinar links that are of value to your target market. So again, this is like one of the first things you're gonna see. All right. So really key. All right, hold on. There's my mouse. My mouse like froze for a second. All right. All right. So here, okay, there you go. Froze for a second. So as it keeps going down, we'll talk about content in a second. Your about section here. This is about section is really key. So you can just you just write in here. Ideally, some people just kind of put their company stuff. I would recommend hooking them a little bit. So let me refresh my page. You can see this again. But you can see here, because of the way it's set up, you can only see the first line. So I have a little bit of a hook, a little bit of copy there to hook them in to want to pay attention to it. So, I sold Speedos at one point. It's kind of funny. It's a swimsuit. So they want to read that. They think it's kind of goofy. They read it. They start going down and they start reading it. And I share a little story. I share a transformation story of what I've been able to achieve. And these are things that are important to the target market. So for you want to share in here what's relevant to your target market with some calls to action. And then my experience here, what's relevant to them. Right. So for you, who your target market is, what's important to them. A lot of them, people that want to work with me, they want to know, hey, Marcus, can you actually get me results? So I make sure they can see lots of results here. They may want to know my background, like did I actually do the job? So I share my background, I share results, I share proof, I share things that I basically eliminate all the risk that it's a bad idea to connect me. So this way they're like, okay, I should connect this guy. You go all the way down as much as you can, and then if you have recommendations from clients, happy customers, to other people that can be relevant to the space. And recommendations are very powerful. This is basically like reviews. These are reviews about you. So, and you can put whatever accomplishments you have here. So I'm not saying they're all going to read all of this, or most of them are not, but if they were to take even 25 seconds to go through this, they'll be like, okay, this person is of value to me potentially, and not a spammer. Okay. So this is why the profile is so key right there. All right. So let me pause for a second. If that makes sense so far, type in a P for profile. Type in a P for profile, if that makes sense so far. Beautiful. Beautiful. So this is, transparently, this will take you the most time to do up front, just so you know, because obviously you got to take some time to make sure it looks good. But once you do it, it's an ongoing asset for you that will pay you dividends nonstop. All right. It's really powerful. So next, when you have a great profile, it's really cool. But if no one's looking at it, it doesn't really matter. So I equate it to, it's like having an amazing house that you have. It's an amazing house for a great party. But if no one comes to your house, to your party, it doesn't really matter. Right. So, no one, you want to have a fun party, that sounds cool, but you get people there. So we'll talk about how to get people there now. So now we must create the party and the intention. So this is where you want to go, where your target market is, and you want to, get some attention. And you want to this is how you do step by step. Okay. So number one, you go where your people are hanging out. These are your target market, and you comment meaningfully. So here's a couple examples here. So there are, in every single space that people sell into, it doesn't matter. It could be accounting, education, manufacturing, biotech, whatever. Every single space has specific people who are like these micro or macro influencers. They're people who are just well known in the space. It could be for economics or whatever, that people just listen to. They're like, wow, this person knows a lot about X. It could be maybe, I don't know, you target scientists. There's people in the science space that are niche down as well. And they're basically mini celebrities in their space. Go and connect with every single one, follow every single one first off. And you want to, and because they're probably people your target market's following, and you want to comment on the meaningful. And what you're doing here is this is called borrowed traffic. So when you comment on there, your target market will see it as well, assuming it's a high value comment. So if it's a high value comment, people are going to see it. And then of course, if you have a profile picture that kind of stands out like this, this is what they're going to see. It's going to stand out. So you can catch some eyes. And if I mentioned earlier, where the attention goes, money flows. So it's really, really important. All right. You can also do this on hashtags. So you can look up relevant hashtags to your space, and they're in every single hashtag. Like there's, I mean, every industry has its own hashtags, right? Like for some people, for example, some people say, Marcus, information technology is not on here. You know, it's not a common space. If I was type in information technology, the hashtag, look, 49,000 people follow it. All right. So you'll see like there's people are engaged. This is actually a pretty good hashtag. So you'll see every single industry has their own specific ones. You might have to do a little bit of searching, but find what the ones that are relevant, follow them, and also engage on those as well, because more than likely your target market either following them or following similar people, and people in those audiences may see them as well. So if you do this for 30 minutes a day, for 30 minutes a day, you just shoot for as many meaningful comments as possible. This will lead to attention. So your target market is going to see it, and so it's going to everyone else. The better the comment, the more eyeballs. Meaning the better the comment, the more people will see it and want to connect with you. All right. So the more eyeballs, the more people that see it will lead to them looking at your profile, which is a net to capture them. Okay. It's like a net to capture them. All right. So really, really important. Okay, cool. So also next, what you can do as well, you can do hyper targeted searches. Ideally, if you have Sales Navigator, if you don't have Sales Navigator, you can still do it. It's not as effective, but in Sales Navigator, you can do really targeted searches. So that way you can go down by specific industry, years of experience, size of business, etc. And that way you are able to get really niche down in your messaging as well. All right. So for example, you can literally search down, I want to look for, I want to look for UK-based information technology companies that have between 50 to 100 people. It's been in place for at least 2+ years, and the CEO, the C-suite going after also likes fitness. You can get that niche now if you want to, and you won't have like thousands, but I'm sure you'll find a list of some that now you can really target and message those directly. Okay, really powerful. So again, when you hyper target them, then you can go in and then connect with them. You can meaningfully comment on their recent posts, and also you can add. It's changed now. So at the time when I made this initially, depending on LinkedIn restrictions, you can usually do about 100 a week now. So do as many as you can. If you have their emails, maybe if you use a tool for emails, you can also input as well and get even more. But start connecting them every single day, because what's going to happen is you want to start building an audience, the right people into your funnel, your LinkedIn funnel, if you will, to be able to sell into. What's going to happen as well when you're commenting as well on their posts, this will build familiarity. All right, really key. Also, what you want to do is your own content, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. And you want to engage with your target market as a comment. So if you put out content on there, over time, if you're adding the right people, they're going to see your content. If it's relevant and useful and helpful for them, they will comment on there. When they comment on there, you want to engage them as well. If they if maybe someone in your market, target market, is not connected with you, but it's a friend of a friend of a friend on LinkedIn, and they see your stuff, they like it, but they're not connected with you, then you want to connect with them as well. So kind of same concept as well. So again, you're building now a pool of your prospects who are wanting to see your stuff, who are potential prospects that you want to nurture and warm to eventually leave down to your pipeline, to eventually close as well. All right. So if you keep doing this above, you can create an audience of future buyers that will see a lot of value in you. And this will actually position you as an authority. Let's make sure what I call nets and spears. Now, let me just kind of bust a couple common myths that people have. Some people say, Marcus, I don't have time to spend all day on LinkedIn. You don't have to. All right. If you commit to 30 minutes a day, great. I mean, obviously, the more time, the better. But even if you just did 30 minutes a day, you are better off doing that than doing nothing. Okay. Myth number 2, I've tried commenting. It doesn't work. Potentially, yes. But what you have to ask yourself is, number 1, was it the right people? The right eyeballs, the right audience? And number 2, was your comment relevant and useful and helpful? And the market will tell you if it is. And the way they tell you is they like and engage on it. So if it's not relevant and useful, then you probably have to work on the actual commenting. Okay. All right. Let's take a look. Next, let's talk about content here. So let me pause for a second. If this makes sense so far, type in a M for myth. M for myth. Make sure You're following me so far? Good engagement so far. All right. Okay. All right. Next, let's go into content. All right. So content. Okay. So now this is a content part. This is where people get a little bit scared about because it's putting themselves out there, but this will help you as well if you're open to doing it. So there's different types of content. There's text posts, slideshows, videos, articles, newsletter, polls, stories, etc. And they'll have more down there, I'm sure. Each type has a different type of reach and impact. Okay. Um, Now, a lot of time I get asked, people say, hey, Marcus, what should I post? Well, the most important thing is this: your target market, they have to find it valuable. That's what matters. So it's not what I think. It's what does your target market find to be really, really valuable? All right. And typically, here's some couple good rules of thumb. Number one, people don't like spam posts. And spam posts are basically you saying, like you basically take your company like blog and you just post it on there. You say, hey, read this blog about this. Well, no one really cares about that, right? Or people say, hey, like, book a time with me. Well, those are what's called direct offers, direct offer posts. And if you don't have any trust your audience, they're not going to want to respond. This is what you want to do. You want to solve problems. So what are common problems the industry runs into that you can help solve, right? You don't have to write a whole essay, just like a specific problem they're running into. You can write about content about that, post a video about that, but the more value it's going to be, it's the better it's going to be. You ultimately want to show what you know what you're talking about. It's really, really important. So you want basically this is how you establish authority. People actually know, okay, you know what? When I follow, Daria, this is what she posts about. This makes sense. Okay. You want to do 0 product pitches. So you don't want to be like, hey, we just came out with a new product. Take a look at below. What do you guys think? No one cares. They're not going to care about that. So I wouldn't post that. Okay. Now it is okay to offer up educational value webinars and events, but you have to do it in a non-spammy way. So you ideally want to have a little bit of good copy and then go into that. All right. So a couple good rules of thumb: easy to read and view on a phone. So most people are going to read on a phone. Okay. So make sure ideally a little bit of space. And I'll show you some examples of spacing so you kind of see a little better. If you do videos, which videos are fantastic, I do recommend doing videos as well. Ideally, less than 2 minutes. And they don't have to be super fancy. You can literally just take your phone, film it on your phone, make sure you have good lighting, make sure sound looks good, and post it up there. And obviously, the more engaging you are in video, the more you can hook people just in general. And even if it's outside your comfort zone, it's something to work towards. So for example, I'm actually more introverted. But when I do things like this, or I do videos, I just turn it on so I can make sure I can hook people and give them value, because my message can be the greatest message in the world, but if I can't get people to pay attention, it's irrelevant. So it's really important I can hook people in, they pay attention. All right. When you write text posts, you typically want to be written in 2nd and 3rd grade language. All right. And I'm saying from a US basis, right? So there might be other tools out there. I know at least for the US or US based countries, tools like HemingwayApp.com are really powerful. Your own country may have other tools or websites where you can plug in the copy you write and it'll tell you a grade level. So take a look at that, or check out HemingwayApp.com. Great tools, completely free. It has to be really easy to digest mentally. So people are really simple. If things are hard, they don't want to do it. That's just human nature. So when you're reading a post, if the post is written in a way that's too complex to read, you don't want to read this. This is across the board. This is in any country and culture. If you read like a scientific article, it's with big words in your language, it's hard to read. Your brain gets tired reading it. Versus when you write really easily and simply in like a child's language, it's easier to digest. It's like, oh, cool. And it sounds crazy, but when you think about a lot of really good advertisements, most of them are written in very simple language for that same reason. It's just human behavior is what it is. You want to post consistently at the same time daily, all right? So this trains your audience, right? You nailed it, Olga. That's exactly it. Choose impact over likes. So sometimes people want to post stuff because they want to get a lot of likes and comments on there. And that's fine if it's your goal. But here's the thing. When you post generic quotes or funny videos, which can get a lot of likes and comments, are they converting to leads and closed deals? If they're not, why do it? Okay. I like to use a really simple format. There's 2 formats I use for my posts. I use it's called hook, value, call to action. So the post is structured. I have a hook at the beginning, first couple sentences are a hook, then I have value in the middle, and then a call to action. You can do the same thing with a hook, a story in the middle, and a call to action. All right. So let me show you just some examples. These are real examples on my profile. Let's take a look real quick. Okay. So for example here, so this is actually a direct offer post. Again, like I mentioned, direct offer posts, you want to do only periodically. All right. So for example here, this is a hook here. So literally I put in here, congrats to my client Josh for closing $185,000 in less than 4 weeks. People are like, whoa. Before this, Josh wrote about his results. This makes you want to keep reading it. So they keep reading it. I have a basically direct offer of his transformation. And my call to action here is really book a time to talk with me, right? And that was very effective. Booked a lot of calls because of this. Okay. So very, very powerful right here. Now, that's a call to action. So this is a poll post. So this is the one where we're sending out free training. You know, again, a hook right here. I just shared this. They can take a look. They can read through this, do these things. People vote. You know, I mean, this is 2 days, 43,000 people saw this. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good viewage, right? This one's a lot lower because the question here is it better to put links? Let's see, put it directly in the link profile. Okay, so put it ideally. So if you're going to like house like videos and stuff, this is for posting. But if you were going to post videos or put them on your profile, you could definitely put it on your profile for sure. I would recommend probably direct to the YouTube channel or direct to, I would say, let me back up. On your profile, I'll recommend a direct to a specific video. So that way it's really clear what the video, what it's about. Because if it's like, hey, go to this link to watch my YouTube channel, people don't really care, right? However, if it speaks to a specific problem that they are facing, then they're going to go check it out. So it might be like, for example, let's just say you sell to HR executives, and maybe you have a software to help them manage employees, and maybe you did great video training on how to reduce turnover. You know, it might be like, check out this video on 5 very simple ways to reduce turnover as an HR executive that costs $0. So it's so specific to a problem, they're more open to actually watching that video now versus just saying, hey, check out my YouTube channel. That's really key. All right. Also, if you're doing posts, ideally, you really don't want to put external links here. So like you'll see here, because I put an external link here, like it reduces your exposure. This is like 1,800 views. That's pretty low for a regular post for me, just because my audience has gotten to a point where even though they're going through an algorithm changes right now, it's still relatively low. Okay. Let's take a look here. So this is like, they're going through some algorithm changes, but like usually a post like this will give me at least 10,000 views. So right now there's the same thing, a little bit of hook. Here's pure value. Do it like this. Call to action. Just, do you agree? Very simple. You can do, you have a little hook. Here's a video, right? A little hook. Here's some value. Call to action. So you kind of see, you get the point. Oh, actually, here's Hemingway app. So you can get the point there. Okay. So, really, really useful. Okay. All right. Let's take a look. I think I have 8 minutes. I better speed this up. Okay. All right. So on this, if I post content, they will come. That's not true. So again, you have to have the right people that you're connected with for them to be able to see. And number 2, your content has to be good. If it's bad content, no one will pay attention. So it's got to be decent content. Okay. But it's when you first start, you don't have to be perfect. Just try. Just start putting it out there, because you'll start learning what works well and what to change. All right. So don't fear. Don't strive for perfection here. I should reiterate it. Don't strive for perfection. Just strive to get it out there to begin with. Okay. My audience isn't on LinkedIn. Well, on LinkedIn, there's over 300 million active users, over 700 million total users. So there's chances are pretty good, at least a small percentage of your people are in your target market. So it just means it's a huge ocean. Where's your audience? All right. Number 3, I'm not creative to post content. Huge myth. You don't have to be super creative. Just look for what your people talk about. So for example, if you're on sales calls or you're talking to customers, what do they complain about? What are their issues? Can you write content about that? You know, are there things that you probably know that you wish you knew a year ago? All right. So there's always things. Or is there maybe a really what's a really popular book in the industry you target that they like? Okay. And then you can read that as well. Find like 5 or 6 bullet points and write about those. Okay. So there's many ways to solve it. So yeah, key. Um, yeah, Maxim. They do LinkedIn stories. So it's actually pretty effective for me. We do actually quite a bit of revenue off LinkedIn stories, but it's going away, so it doesn't really matter. So it is what it is. All right, all right, cool. Inbound. All right, so inbound. If you've done a good job so far with consistently showing up and doing the above, a few things are going to happen. Your target market will send you connection requests. They'll be engaging with the content, which is awesome. They might even direct message you asking for help, right? Which is cool. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent work. All right. So here's what you want to do. But with these inbound opportunities, you want to maximize every opportunity. So number one, connection requests. You accept them and send them a personal video message. Okay. You can do on your phone. Ideally, do it native in the app, and then offer something of high value for free. Okay. That's preferred. Or you can ask about if they're interested in potentially working together or jumping on a call. That can work as well, but not as effective as the first one. Giving them something of value for free is way more effective. Okay. You want to engage with their content, send them a connection request, then drop a video message above, right? Tones everything, be focused on gratitude, being grateful. They may direct message you asking you for help. Drop them a video, book a call. That's pretty obvious. Okay. These are the warmest leads that they see value and they're engaging. Maximize to make sure they have the highest chance of converting. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about outbound really quick. I have a few minutes to cover outbound. So outbound. So now it's like we did inbound. Now it's also outbound. Outbound's like what I call spears, where they're hyper targeted. You're sending messages to your direct audience. All right. So if you can master spears, you will never have to worry about money or hitting your numbers. Never, because you now know the strategy, which means you can really put it to work and you can generate warm, qualified appointments. This strategy works in conjunction with everything else we discussed so far and should be implemented with a mixture of phone calls, emails, direct mail, etc., to just maximize your entire funnel efficiency. So a couple things. Number one, connection requests. I mentioned this earlier. Send them daily. Okay. Hyper targeted lists in Sales Navigator. These are the best lists. Where can you find them? Micro, macro influencer, comments, groups, etc. on your content. I mentioned earlier. So do it every single day. After they accept, send them a video native in the app. This will help build trust a lot faster. All right. Couple key things. Look in the camera. Look right now. I'm looking at my screen to make sure I read all this. Right. But right now, if you look, I'm looking at the camera now. Looks like I'm looking right in the eyes. So it's a very different feel. This builds trust faster, gains trust faster. They can see you. They like you more. It's what happens. Okay. So that's just when. If you have a minute for questions, drop me a quick question. I'm sure I could drop it really quick and give you a little bit of direction.
Yes, we can see some thanks in the chat, and
Cool.
actually we also get some personal feedback that you are a very awesome speaker, that you give some useful content, and we really appreciate that. This is great. That this is very practical, and we can just implement it in our work. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Well, it was my absolute pleasure. Make sure to connect me on LinkedIn. And thanks for having me. And I'll drop a link again below here in case you need it. And this way you guys have a copy of the guide here. So even though I didn't get a chance to go through at least the outbound messaging, when you read through it, it should make sense. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just nice to have someone kind of walk through it, but take a look at that as well. That should help you guys quite a bit. And if we're connected on LinkedIn, as you're having successes, definitely let me know. Shoot me a quick message. Let me know if you're having success with that. I would love to hear those type of things. So thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Have a nice day. So we can see the question how to measure efficiency for efforts of social selling and business. Because Marcus is not here, I will answer that. We have several metrics, and I think that probably Marcus has some similar metrics which we use. Like it's all starting with connection rate, how people approve our connection requests, reply or response rate, how they answer the messages, and some other conversions, like conversions to lead, conversions to interest, etc. So we will share this information about the metric with the participants as well as a follow-up after the conference.